Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today for a First Alert 6 streaming special. I'm Maria Cade.
And I'm Elaina Riley. Well, it's Hollywood's biggest night, and the stars will be out in full force at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so today we're talking all things Academy Awards to get you ready for the big show.
Well, this is the 98th year for the Oscars, and Conan O'Brien is hosting again this year.
Okay, I have to say, he was so great last year. I mean, I feel like he really brought the comedy to the show. I mean, he's always funny, but I actually heard that he's been testing his opening monologue at different clubs around LA the past couple of weeks, and it's been getting a really good response. So I'm excited to see what he has in store.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Well, Maria, you are our resident Oscar expert. So what can people expect when they tune into this show,
well,
those that don't know?
Yeah, this is really exciting because there are 24 categories this year. There's a brand new category this year, Best Casting. So it's pretty exciting because they are starting to add new categories every single year. I believe the last one was Best Animated Feature, and that was over 20 years ago that they added that category. So it's been a little bit since they added a new category. There are a lot of nominees up for Best Picture this year, 10 nominees, and we're going to be talking about all of them later today. I think for Best Casting, though, if I had to place a bet on who I think would win, I'm going to say Sinners. And I think we're going to be hearing that movie a lot over this entire show.
Amazing, amazing.
But
Maria, yeah.
I am not the only person here who works at First Alert 6 who is a big movie buff.
We have a lot of them.
Yes.
That's amazing. We gathered 9 of our colleagues to join us today to share their thoughts on each of the 10 Best Picture nominees.
Yeah, we're talking everything from winner predictions, snubs, the moments that made us laugh, and the moments that made us cry.
Well, Maria, I think you need to kick us off with our first nominee, that is Hamnet. So tell us about the movie.
Yeah, okay. I'm really excited to talk about this movie because there were so many incredible films that came out throughout the 2025 year, but this was actually my favorite of all the movies that I got to see this year. So Hamnet, it actually is a fictionalized version of William Shakespeare and his wife, who in real life is Anne Hathaway, but in the movie they call her Agnes, and their relationship and how they're raising their kids and raising a family and the different struggles that they go through. So the movie actually touches on a lot of topics that I think are sometimes hard for people to talk about, but things that so many people will go through throughout their lives. The main crux of the movie is actually the loss of one of their children, unfortunately. Of course, this happens, I believe, in the 1500s. So this is during the time of the bubonic plague. So one of their kids, their son, unfortunately passes away after getting the plague. And it kind of goes through the different ways that people deal with grief. For William Shakespeare, his character, he sort of puts all of that grief and everything that he's going through into his work. So you see the process of him writing the play Hamlet, which actually Hamlet and Hamnet are interchangeable. They said that people would use those names, you know, in the same way. So it sort of was probably poetic that they chose to name the play Hamlet when their son was named Hamnet. So he uses his work to sort of put all of his grief into that, but his wife Agnes, she is sort of grieving a little bit more openly, feeling her emotions in a different way. And throughout the movie, William and Agnes, they're separated because she is living at home with the family in, I believe, Stratford, England, but William is writing this play in London. So they're apart and they're going through this without each other, and it sort of shows all the trials and tribulations that they go through as a couple. And the different ways that people grieve.
Amazing. Well, you said Jessie Buckley in her biggest performance yet on screen.
Yes.
Yeah, you talked about her a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is talking about her. Tell us more about
I know.
that.
Jessie Buckley, she plays Agnes, so she plays the wife. And I mean, this is a star-making performance. She has had some films where she has been very notable recently. She had an Oscar nomination for The Lost Daughter a couple years ago, but this is her Oscar to lose. I mean, I remember sitting in the theater and there are a couple scenes. I know we always talk about, oh, what's that Oscar moment, that Oscar clip that's going to get the actor the award, and I feel like this whole movie for her is just one big Oscars clip. I mean, she is so incredible, so emotional, and her portrayal of grief, it is something that I have never seen before on screen. I mean, she is pulling at the heartstrings of everybody. I sat in the theater when I went and saw this and I cried. I mean, it was so emotional just to see, you know, you never want to go through the loss of anybody, but I know for parents, losing a child is the most painful thing that a lot of people could go through. And to see that performance and the way that she was able to portray that and portray those emotions. It was really, really painful and powerful. It's a movie that's going to be a hard watch for a lot of people, I think, just because you never want to feel those emotions, but the way that she portrays it, it was so realistic. And even if you haven't gone through anything like that, hopefully you haven't, but you're definitely feeling what she's feeling because her performance is so powerful and poignant.
Definitely. Well, moving on to Paul Mescal, he plays Shakespeare.
Yes,
Do you think he was snubbed, Maria?
I know, he didn't get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I think a lot of people had hoped that he would. I thought that he brought a great deal of gravitas to that role as well. His role is a little bit more internalized versus Jessie Buckley's performance is very showy and very out there, just because that's how that character portrayed her emotions more outwardly, versus Shakespeare was a lot more internal. But he really, really did a great job, and I thought that he was snubbed. And I also want to shout out Jacoby Jupe, who played Hamnet, and he was, oh my gosh, I believe he has to be in his early teens. He's a preteen, and he portrayed the role of a dying child in just such a profound way. And I mean, I hope that he continues to get more roles. He deserved a lot of recognition for that because that was a really hard, really, really hard thing to do.
Wow. And Maria, some of our audience might know Hamnet won Best Motion Picture Drama at the Golden Globes, so it actually beat Sinners. So do you think this can happen again? Are we going to have a repeat?
You know, I don't know if it's going to repeat here at the Oscars, just because as we are going to hear from a lot of our colleagues who are joining us, one battle after another, and Sinners, those are the top two. I mean, they're duking it out for Best Picture. I fear that there are no other nominees that are going to come out and overtake either one of them. That would be a crazy story, a huge surprise if that did happen. It was interesting to see Hamnet win Best Drama at the Golden Globes, but definitely glad that it got the recognition. Of course, like I said, this was my favorite film of the year, so I'm glad that it got a little bit of recognition. And like I said, it's still going to get an award at the end of the night because Best Actress is Jessie Buckley's to lose. Nobody's touching that.
Amazing, Maria. Thank you. Alrighty, well, let's see what our colleagues have to say. Well, here to talk next is Philip Katafamo. He's a reporter, MMJ, and anchor here at First Alert 6. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you.
Okay, we have you here to talk about Marty Supreme.
Yes.
And you said you're really, really excited to talk about this. First of all, give us an overview. What is the plot of the movie? What's it about?
I think the plot of the movie is about somebody's ambition to be great. I think in terms of just overarching themes there, you have Marty Mauser, who is on this mission to be the greatest table tennis player of all time, and he will do literally anything to accomplish that goal. And I think that's just the story. The story is just watching him try to accomplish this goal, and every single way he messes up and tries to just basically backtrack all of the mistakes he's made to accomplish what he wants to do, which is become the greatest table tennis player of all time. So, yeah.
I mean, the whole award season, the conversation has been around this Timothée Chalamet performance. Is he going to finally take it? He's been nominated so many times. Now maybe the narrative is shifting a little bit. What do you think?
I really want to say yes. I really do, but I have a feeling they're going to do to him what they did to Leonardo DiCaprio for years, which was just keep handing him nominations until he ends up winning one much later in his career. I also think he's in a very crowded Best Actor field this year.
It's tough.
You've got Michael B. Jordan, you've got Leo, you've got Timothée Chalamet, you've got a few other nominees who can. Sean Penn is included as well. He's got some very heavy hitters around him. I do think this is his best performance of his career. I loved him in Call Me By Your Name.
My favorite.
I have not seen Dune yet, so I do apologize. I've not seen
He's
Dune.
incredible in Dune as well.
Yes.
But Call Me By Your Name, that is like
very good. A great,
once in a lifetime performance.
Here I am,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to offer. And then this, I feel, is his best performance as an actor. That said, it's just a very crowded field this year, and I don't think he's going to end up winning it. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I really hope I'm wrong. But I don't know. I think in his pursuit of greatness in his own life, this is something that keeps him on that pursuit. Because if he wins Best Actor, what's next?
True.
I would imagine winning it again or winning it multiple times, but it's, it kind of hits that goal so early. He's only like 31.
It's interesting too, because his life and this whole story of him chasing after this dream, it's so reflective of Marty's life as well. I'm sure he drew on a lot of that. But the movie was nominated for quite a few other awards too, one of the most nominated films this year. Do you think anything else is going to cross the finish line and get that gold trophy? Or could this be one of those movies that has all those nominations and then blanks at the end of the day?
If I'm remembering correctly, I think it's nominated for some writing. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think that's probably where. I think maybe Josh Shafty gets an opportunity for Best Director if he's nominated again.
He is,
I should have looked at the nominations
No,
before I
he's
sat down,
nominated.
but that's where I kind of feel like they would. I don't know exactly what technical awards they are, but you could throw that in there as well. Editing, I think, deserves at least a consideration if it isn't nominated. The problem is there's no Best Soundtrack category.
Oh my gosh, the score.
The score outside of the movie itself and a few particular scenes, which I'm sure we'll discuss at some point, but the soundtrack for this movie is incredible. It could have been all music from that time period. I think the movie takes place a little after World War II, so it's like the 1950s. There are a few artists like Fats Domino thrown in there who were popular at the time, but the use of a lot of the 80s new wave music, New Order, Tears for Fears at the end of the film, which is one of my favorite uses of Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
It's an iconic moment.
I am getting goosebumps thinking about it. When I was sitting in the theater and it happens at the end of the movie, not to give too many spoilers, but when it happens at the end of the movies, I got chills. I smiled. It is the most deserved needle drop ever in any movie. And then, even just the beginning, you have Alphaville's Forever Young to start the film.
Yeah.
I think that really sets the tone for the movie, is you have that whole sequence of the two characters being intimate, trying to be as PG as I can. But once that song starts, I think it just kind of sets the tone of like, we're truly in for a ride. And it is. That's exactly what it is.
I remember sitting there in the theater and looking at the person who I went to see the movie with, and he actually said, well, that's a way to start a movie, for sure.
Very much so, yeah.
People are never going to forget that.
Yeah, so many twists and turns. Oh, my goodness. Well, what other iconic moments can you think of just throughout the movie that were maybe really shocking to you?
I think, there's a honey scene.
Yes, that was a wow.
If you want to talk about shocking, that one was definitely more shocking for other reasons. But I think one of my favorite parts of the movie is the final battle with Endo, where he is going. He's trying to get back into the table tennis championships because he kind of talks his way out of getting to go. And at the end of the film, Kevin Leary, who also is great, Kevin O'Leary, even though he just basically plays himself, but the performance and the role, it fits very well, and that's probably why he was cast. Josh Shafty loves casting non-actors in movies. George Gervin, for anybody who knows who the Iceman is, the 1970s San Antonio Spur, he's in the movie. A lot of people, Tyler, the Creator, is great in it as well. But to answer your question, the end of the movie is one of my favorite parts. That final competition where Marty is brought into Japan. He finally makes it after, again, ruining every opportunity he has, and he gets that final battle with Endo. And he's there just to be a clown. He's there just to be the big bad guy. And he finally gets his opportunity to show that he is truly the greatest tennis table player ever, even though there's no trophy.
No.
He's competing for nothing. No. And the way that the movie's shot, the way they cut to the crowd, the tension of them playing game after game after game, and him just relentlessly not giving up is definitely my favorite part of the movie. And then the needle drop with Tears for Fears at the end when he sees his daughter. That's incredible.
It pulls at your heartstrings for sure.
It's very good.
But before we let you go, we're asking everybody, what do you think's going to win? Best Picture. What is your pick?
Ooh, I want to say... I want to give it to Marty Supreme, genuinely. I do think it's going to be one battle after another. I think with just how star-studded that cast is, you have a well-known veteran director in Paul Thomas Anderson. I think a movie led by Leo with Sean Penn. Benicio del Toro is also very, very good. I think that one is probably going to win. But I'm still pushing very hard for Marty Supreme. But, that's probably what's going to win.
Yeah, you're leading the campaign.
Yay.
If F1 wins, I will never watch the Oscars again. No offense to F1, but that should not have been nominated. No weapons? You don't nominate weapons? You do F1 instead of weapons?
Well, there's some really, really good films that came out this year that were not right.
Yes, very true. Very, very true.
Oh, man. I also love this outfit, Phil. Tell us about this.
This is my Mike McKnight fit, a First Lord 6 polo and my sports coat. You guys are both dressed very nice. And Isaac walked in with, thank you. Yeah, slow pan. That's great. Let me fix my collar here.
I bet our viewers love it. Oh, man.
Everybody was dressed nice, and I have to work after this. So I was like, I should go grab my sports coat. So I'm in my Mike McKnight fit.
Yes.
The only thing I'm missing is jeans.
True.
Yes, I love Mike.
Man.
That's not a dig at Mike.
No,
Mike's great.
Yes, he's that iconic. He has to be featured here in our show.
I also don't have a mustache. He's got a much better mustache than I do. So.
So fun, Phil. Thank you.
Of course, great movie. Go watch Marty Supreme if you haven't seen it.
Well, joining the party now, we have our senior chief meteorologist, Rusty Lord. Thanks for joining us, Rusty.
Happy to be here. This
awesome.
is a fun little series.
Yeah. And you're here to talk about Train Dream. So tell us about that movie.
Well, I tell you what. try to watch as many Best Picture nominations as I can. Ever since I had a kid, it's been different. Mostly animated movies in my world. But
Just as good sometimes.
yes,
Maybe better.
there's been some great ones. Elemental a couple of years ago was
Yeah, that was
phenomenal.
really good.
We still watch that. But we decided to pick Train Dreams because it fit in the window we had, and we had Netflix. A deep movie. I like a good thinker. It's very good, and you can pick out little interesting character traits from people. And something that always fascinates me about history, and this kind of dives into like the early 1900s, other things that were going on during key periods in our history. Like this was just after World War I. And this was in the Pacific Northwest in the logging industry. It's like, who thinks about what's going on in Northwest U.S. after World War? So it was kind of cool to get the perspective and see what was going on. He worked for the railroad for a while. There was a lot of Asian immigrants working for the railroad, and he kind of talked about how that impacted him. And then he went into the logging industry, which was highly, highly dangerous in that time period.
So, I mean, talk about that lead performance, Joel Edgerton. A lot of people thought maybe he might get nominated for Best Actor. He didn't make the cut, but this was a performance that a lot of people really talked about and were really taken by.
Man of few words. He said very little in the whole, and it was just a lot of the trials and tribulations of what he grew up with. I know, can I spoil what's going on?
Yeah.
So he would leave his family for long periods of time in the logging industry. He built a cabin. But in order to make money, he would leave for months on end during the logging season and then come back. So he had a child, a daughter that was similar to my daughter's age, and he wouldn't see her for like 6 month stretches at a time. That started to tear at him a little bit, and then it was his very last logging trip when he came back, and he got off the train, and there was a huge glow in the distance, and it was a wildfire that broke out, and he knew where it was, and he got back to where his cabin was, and the cabin was gone, no trace of his wife or his daughter, and that's kind of the crux of like the midway point of the movie. You never see them again, and he has to deal with that for the rest of his life, and just watching him deal with that and still try to earn a living, and who he meets along the way, I should probably go back and read the book, but it's a really deep thinker. And perspective of, I couldn't have worked in the railroad in the 1920s. I couldn't have been a logger in the 1920s.
Me neither.
These guys are tough. They don't share their feelings.
Yeah.
It's they got all this stuff bottled up.
It's an internal.
And they got to figure out how to let it go in an era where nobody talked about their feelings. You figured out, and he dealt with a lot in that movie.
And you mentioned the setting too, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
This movie is up for Best Cinematography as well. Talk about the visuals of this story and the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you think at that time, a lot of that part of the U.S. very underdeveloped.
Yeah.
So you're kind of seeing, beautiful nature shots. Talk a little bit about that.
Exactly. Pristine nature, beautiful cinematography with the dream sequences involving trains and being, a lot of sequences where he's kind of stuck on the tracks. He can't get out of situations, a little symbolism with what he was dealing with. But he was my wife and I actually went to the Pacific Northwest on our honeymoon. It's gorgeous up there, and just to see all the scenery was beautiful. And then one thing I didn't touch on earlier, William H. Macy's character. He isn't there very long, but he's one of these gruff old loggers. His name's Arn Peoples. His character is awesome, and it just talks about how dangerous logging was, and he succumbed to the dangers of logging too after being the wise old man with all the knowledge to keep everybody safe. I forgot about that. William H. Macy's character is really cool. I don't know if he got any Best Supporting or anything, but he had a short-lived little part.
No, but I always love those performances in movies when actors come in and they sort of steal the scene and you remember them and you take that away.
He might have been there for maybe a quarter of the movie, but I'm like, oh, hey, look at that. And he did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, Rusty, it sounds like you had a really good pick, like watching this, of course, being a man, being a father, a husband. So, how has that really impacted your movie watching experience kind of with your life changing?
Well,
your perspective?
I like to, movies that make me think a little bit if I was in those scenarios. Like, Liz and I talk about that. Like, if we had to be in a covered wagon going across the country, I wouldn't have made it. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses. and I couldn't have been a logger. I definitely couldn't have worked on the railroad, and just these guys dealing with all this stuff that, you know, you just had to put your head down if you wanted to make money. You didn't make much money, and you powered through, and he was lucky enough to have a family for a little while, and he just had to start over from scratch. And like, think about wildfires. We deal with wildfires. It would just obliterate towns and villages back in the day. At least we can fight back a little bit. Back then, in the early 1900s, it was nearly impossible.
There you go.
This is one of the Best Picture nominees that is a little bit more accessible. Like you said, it's on Netflix, but one that probably a lot of people might not have taken the time to see. Why should they take the time to watch it?
I like a movie that makes me think and put myself in their shoes. Like I said, it's not action-packed. It's going to get knocked for being slow. I guarantee it. But stick with it. I promise. I thought it was a great finish. And especially if you've read the book, you probably get a little more insight in it too. But Liz and I looked at each other at the end and was like, yeah, I like that. I'm glad we watched that. Took the time to do it. Some movies that make you think a little bit.
Yeah, there's payoff at the end.
Yeah, I think some people like a slower pace as well there. You know, get to really soak things in.
Yeah, you know what you're getting when you probably watch Sinners or One Battle After Another a little bit. But I went into it with very low expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Very real of you. Well, Rusty, you're also telling us about this pool that you have for the Oscars. Tell us about that.
So when I first got started in television, I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So 4 of us buddies, we stay together, and we do all these little contests. We do an Oscar pool. We pick horses in the Triple Crown races. We play fantasy football together. And we do an Oscar pool. So 2 of them, they're big cinephiles, is that the word? I mean, like, they are just awesome. They watch every movie. They watch probably 20, 30 movies a year.
Wow.
I'm like 2 or 3. I put an entry in, but I bomb.
You still try, though.
It's fun. It's a good way to
Rusty's
stay
pick.
together. Like, I won one year because I picked the Bourne Identity on all the cinematography, the editing, and I just picked out on everything, and I won, and they give me crap for it all the time. So it's great, but it's a good way to stay connected. So I've watched this, maybe Zootopia 2.
Good one.
Moana 2.
Also a good one.
And we just watched Hoppers.
Yes,
That's
you were
not-
talking about that too, but that'll be up next year. Maybe.
That'll be next year. So yeah, if it's not animated, I'm usually not watching it this point in my life, but it's fun to try it.
But it's funny when you talk about these Oscar pools. I mean, a lot of people, enter into them, but they're in your position too. They probably haven't seen as many.
Yeah.
This year, though, it's going to be a toss-up. I feel like we don't really know a lot of categories, so there are going to be a lot of people making guesses, educated or not, just like you.
And they've been doing a really good job of making the Oscars, more relatable.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the artsy films like Train Dreams, but then you got ones that are maybe a little more in the mainstream that people have seen more of too. So beyond this one, I don't know a lot. So I got to watch Sinners, though, is what I'm getting. That
Definitely
There you
do.
go.
Yes.
We got to pull you back on as the kids movie expert as well.
There you
You've
go.
seen them all. Is what it sounded
I
like.
guarantee there's a new Minions one coming out. There's a new
love
Toy
it.
Story and a live-action Moana. I'm
we
your
want
man.
You heard it
takes
here.
on all of them, yeah.
You heard it here first. That's awesome. With us now, we have Sydney Babb. She's here to talk about Begonia. She's at reporter MMJ with us.
Yeah, this
Sydney.
is a little out of my comfort zone for what I'm typically doing in here, but I'm excited.
But
definitely.
you're one of the biggest movie fans
Yes.
here who works here with us at First Alert 6. I mean, you go see a movie almost every week.
Yes,
So.
every Friday I go to see a movie. I think I've been doing it. I mean, I've been doing it almost my whole life, but definitely since I started working here, it's like everyone knows.
It's
what
a
movie is
ritual,
Sydney
it's a
going to see?
tradition.
Yeah.
But it's iconic because I relate to that because I love
Yes.
movies just like
Yes,
you. And
yes.
today you're talking about one of your favorite movies, can I say ever? At least at this season, for sure.
Well, after I
But-
watched it a second time, and after I watched it a second time, I did put it on my top 4 in Letterboxd.
Wow.
So I would argue yes, at least for the time being.
Okay, give us an overview. What is Begonia about?
Am I allowed to talk about spoilers? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, whatever
okay.
you
So it's essentially about this woman who is a CEO of a company. And then there's a man who's in a smaller town who lives near them. He actually works for pretty low level. He works for her company. And he and his cousin end up kidnapping her, holding her hostage. It's kind of like a long-winded thing because they believe that she's an alien, which is a little bit crazy. You can tell when you're watching the movie he's a conspiracy theorist. And as you go through the movie, it's interesting because you're not really sure who you're supposed to be rooting for. You kind of go back and forth between, well, he's making decent points and she's making decent points. And they do a really good job as far as characterization goes with you're not really sure who you're supposed to be rooting for. And by the end, I am allowed to spoil the movie, right? Okay. By the end of the movie, you discover that she is an alien.
Yeah.
But again, you're set up the whole time to think he's crazy. Like, she's not an alien. She really is just a CEO. But it's really interesting as far as I would say, what you're trying to figure out throughout the whole thing. Yeah.
Why do you think you were drawn to the movie? I mean, when you think of all the nominees this year, this one maybe is on the lower half of potentially winning that Best Picture win, but why were you so taken by it?
A couple of reasons. As far as the director goes, Yorgos has, I mean, he's got an incredible lineup of movies. There have been a couple of his that were more popular that I just wasn't as big of a fan of, but I can understand why they're popular. But Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons, I am huge fans of their work. I mean, I think Emma Stone is incredible. La La Land is one of my other favorite movies. Jesse Plemons, the first thing I ever watched him in was Black Mirror, which, if you've ever seen Black Mirror, like, that's one of my favorite types of TV shows. It's very similar to what Begonia is.
Yes.
I would argue that Begonia could definitely be like a Black Mirror episode.
100%.
So he fits into that category very well. I grew up watching like M. Night Shyamalan movies and Alfred Hitchcock, so that's very much my vibe. So when I saw it, I was definitely interested to go see it for those reasons. It just kind of fit into the category of movies that I enjoy.
Yeah, in the past couple of movies that Emma and Yorgos, Jesse too, with Kinds of Kindness have worked on, you know, they've all sort of been in this similar realm. They have those aspects of horror in it as well. How do you think this compares, especially because Emma won Best Actress for Poor Things? How does her performance in Begonia compare to that? And do you think she has a chance of winning this year?
I don't think for Begonia, just seeing all the other movies that are up for things, honestly, I think Sinners has a really good chance of sweeping at the Oscars, and I hope it does, honestly. I really love Sinners as well. I think, I kind of like you said, Begonia just kind of ended up in the bottom tier. I'm not really sure why. It just, you know, it depends on what the critics think and what other people think. I think that it had a good message, but with the ending being almost feeling a little silly, it took it off people's radar a little bit. But I think that, honestly, that adds to the effect. I mean, to me, when I was watching the movie, the purpose was kind of to tell us, like, we a lot of times create our own destruction and we ruin things for ourselves when we're trying to defend what our cause is. We watch Jesse Plemons' character do that through the whole movie. And I think that it has a really good message, but I do think that the ending, for a lot of people, kind of took it out of seriousness, and that might be a little bit of a reason why it.
But I would say, if you are a fan of Yorgos, you know, you come to know that is
you
his
know that's
style.
how exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I loved Emma in Poor Things. I thought that she was phenomenal in that role, and I feel like she's kind of becoming this generation's Meryl Streep, where like every time she's in a role, like she's gonna do good work, she's gonna get nominated. So I can't wait to see what she does next.
Definitely, I agree.
Well, I saw the movie as well, Sydney. I kind of went into it blind, so I was shocked by the reveal at the end. I wasn't really expecting it. Do you kind of like to go into movies not really knowing anything, or do you like to have a little bit of a synopsis beforehand? What do you find, you really take from the most?
That's a good question. I love going into a movie blind, but okay, we were talking about how I go to a movie every Friday.
Yes.
I've actually hit a point where that kind of is to my detriment just a small bit, because I'll watch the same trailers for 8 weeks at a time before a movie comes out. So unfortunately, I do accidentally end up knowing a decent amount about the movies that I go see. But I think we have some local theaters here that are really good about playing other things that are not as popular releases. So Film Streams, I'm a Film Streams
shout out
member.
Film Streams. We love them.
They play a lot of movies that are not necessarily like mainstream movies that you would go see at AMC. So I do have a good chance of having a little bit more surprise with those. But I do enjoy that. I just don't always get the chance to.
Yeah.
The movie's also up for screenplay. Do you think it has a chance in that category or no?
I think so. I have less, I will say I have less knowledge about that category as far as what typically wins. It is based on a movie that was already created. I can't remember exactly when, and it didn't have the same title. So screenplay-wise, it is a little bit of a adaptation of another. So I'm not sure how well adaptations typically do, because it was also, I believe it was the 70s when the original was made. So I don't know. I never know on those sort of things.
Yeah.
It just depends.
It's
on
always
what
a
they're
toss-up.
looking
I feel like
for.
this year, though, because they have the adapted screenplay
Right.
category and the original category,
Right.
Sinners and One Battle After Another, which, as we talked this whole show, are probably the top 2 contenders. They're in separate categories.
Right.
So, we'll see
You never
what
know.
comes out
We
with
always
it.
like to make our guesses, and then 90% of the time, I feel like it goes a completely different way.
What do you think? You mentioned Sinners. Is that what you're hoping for, or is that what you would say, yes, that's what I think it is?
I feel like it could be Sinners this year, and I would be a huge fan of that. Like, I remember when I watched it, I was still in college, so that feels like it was eons ago. But I went to see it with a couple of my friends from school, and like we were jaws on the floor the whole time. That was one where I went into it not knowing a whole lot, and I think they did a good job as far as the trailer and what they let people know
promotional,
from what it
yep.
would actually be.
I
So
agree.
I think Sinners has a really good shot. One Battle After Another has a good shot. Me personally, I thought it was an absolutely incredible movie. I saw a little bit less attention for it than I expected to, especially with Leo being the main character for it. So you never know. Who knows at this point?
Yeah. Well, Sydney, you said this movie's top 4. Do you mean of the year, of all the movies you've ever seen? Like, where are we at on this range?
I have a letterboxd account, and my top 4, I'm gonna have to think really hard. The Shining is one of them. Right now, Begonia is.
La La Land?
La La
I know
Land
it.
and Little Women, the Greta Gerwig
Oh, so good.
adaptation.
Good picks.
So I've got those 4. I used to have Scream in there. I think Scream is one of the best horror movie franchises in the world. So I did already see the newest one. But yeah, it's my top 4 for now. I keep my letterbox top 4, my top 4 of all time, but it's frequently changing.
Yeah.
I can never make up my mind.
Well, you see so many movies, it's like, how can it not?
And I forget so many movies too.
Constantly changing.
You never know. You never know.
And here we have our executive producer, Chris DeShill, joining us. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, you're here to talk about F1. Tell us about the movie.
Yeah, so it's Formula One. It is the most popular motorsports series in the world, and the movie is just so much fun. It was one of those summer movies that you really don't pay a lot of attention to the plot or whatever. It's just a fun time, what they call a popcorn movie. It's just and the sound, and so it's up for 4 Oscars:
Yep.
Best Picture, Best Editing, Best Sound, and Visual Effects. I don't think it really has a chance except in the sound, because I just remember, in a good way, my eardrums blown out after watching it.
Well, that experience, it's like you're sitting in the theater and it's like you're right there on the racetrack, or you're even in the car driving with them, and with the sound effects, it was really, really impressive.
And one of the opening shots, and they said it was a combination shot, but it looks very seamless, is just peering down on the car in the raceway. And if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a heck of a shot.
Yeah. Really, really cool. So, of course, you talked a little bit about those crafts categories, probably a better chance there. I remember the morning that Oscar nominations came out, and we were talking, and you basically said, I have no clue how this movie made it in, but I'm so glad it did. Do you have any idea how it sort of snuck its way into the top 10?
Yeah. Part of the way is, and it's relatively new, that we have 10 pictures up for Best Picture now, and I guess that's been in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
And so it is Hollywood a little bit letting down, or the Academy letting down their hair a little bit and putting a fun movie in. And the interesting part of the way that they vote for Best Picture now is the 50% threshold, the 50% rule. And so you can actually vote for Best Picture more than once.
Yeah.
And so I think this might last actually a few rounds. But it really hasn't. It's between Sinners and One Battle after another.
Well, that was my next question. Okay, so out of those 2, obviously those are probably the top 2 contenders. It's between the 2.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody said that's who they think is going to win, one or the other. Can you make a decision, either or, Sinners or One Battle? What are you going with?
I would go with Sinners, and based on the absolute sweep that they had at the Actor Awards. So the actors are behind that movie.
Yeah.
So that is gigantic. That's a huge
The
percentage
biggest
of the voting pool.
Yes, biggest portion.
And so I'm a man of odds too. I believe
Yes.
in the odds. And the numbers on Sinners has really dwindled.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, someone knows something about something. And I think you might have a big night for that movie.
We said it earlier, Chris, you are a big sports guy, but does someone need to like sports to enjoy this movie? Because not me too much.
Elaina, I think you would love the movie.
Okay, how so?
It's because it's not really a sports movie. Okay. It is and you know what, to be perfectly honest, you don't even need to follow the plot. Just enjoy it. It's a movie that looks great for 2 hours. And I mean, I'm sure that you have no problem looking at Brad Pitt for 2 hours.
Here we go.
So I think you'd enjoy it.
Well, it's cool too because Joseph Kosinski, he directed Top Gun Maverick as well. So if you were a really big fan of that movie, which I know a lot of people were, of course, that was up for a number of awards as well.
It has a similar
Yes.
vibe. Yes.
Anything else you want to tell us about it?
No, I just hit me that it's really coming up. That the show's coming up, so that's very exciting. And if you didn't get a chance to see F1 at the theaters, I think you'll love it on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Gotta
Just
tune
as good. All right. Okay, joining us now is Judd Gamer. He's a technical media producer here at First Alert 6, and he's here to talk about sentimental value. Welcome, Judd.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And Judd, you're a really big movie fan. I mean,
Yes.
you've seen the
I try to be.
majority of the Best Picture nominees.
Almost.
Tell us about Sentimental Value. What's the plot?
Well, Sentimental Value stars Stellan Skarsgård as something of a washed-up director who hasn't had a hit in a long time, and he's trying to make his comeback. He's writing his comeback script and trying to get that off the ground, and he wants his daughter to play the lead role, but they are very much a estranged relationship. And there's another daughter who's also kind of estranged, but she's a little more sympathetic to him. And so it's kind of about her coming to terms with some of the trauma that was inflicted on her as a young woman, and coming to terms with that and sort of rebuilding the relationship with her father.
It's a really powerful movie and a powerful message, and I feel like the acting is really, the pinnacle of this movie. Talk a little bit about those performances.
Right. The acting is kind of the star of the show here. I think if it manages to win anything, it'll probably be something in the acting categories, or maybe even Best Foreign Film. It's got a good chance at that, I think.
All right, so I have not seen this movie. What type of viewer do you think would enjoy this? Like, what do you have to tell me about it?
Well, if you like the more artsy kind of foreign films, you're going to have to read. So if that's an issue, you might want to stay away. But it's a very heartfelt film. It has a lot of interesting things to say about family dynamics and kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of processing familial trauma from a young age and learning to forgive, perhaps.
I mean, it tackles a lot of hard topics, but topics that I think a lot of people can relate to as well.
Oh, for sure.
And you talk about Stellan, of course, the Best Supporting Actor. Yes, so good. The Best Supporting Actor race. It's kind of a toss-up right now. We don't really know who's going to win. He won the Golden Globe, so he is in the running. Do you think he's going to take it, or do you think it's going to be one of the other performances?
I think his chances are pretty good. You'd have to remind me who the other supporting actor nominees are.
Well, I think a lot of people are saying it's Sean Penn's to lose now.
Yeah, and it's gonna be difficult for that for him to overcome that. Especially because foreign films don't always get the right amount of attention from the Academy.
And I think if he does win too, a lot of people would probably say that it's a recognition of his career. I mean, he's been in so many different movies, so many great roles over the years. It definitely would be.
Yeah, he's one of those kind of underappreciated actors who pops up in a lot of great stuff, but doesn't always get the biggest role or the flashiest role. But he always gives it 110%, and I wouldn't have any problem with him winning.
And Best International Feature Film, too. It's up there, neck and neck with The Secret Agent.
Yes.
Do you have one over the other?
Well, The Secret Agent is one of the only ones of the nominees I have not seen. So I can't say for sure. But going off of the industry buzz, I think it stands a good chance. There's a few in-jokes for film nerds, such as myself. one of my favorites being Skarsgård's character is trying to ingratiate himself with his grandson, who obviously he doesn't see very often. And so he gives him DVDs of The Piano Teacher and Irreversible, which, if you're not familiar with those movies, those are two movies you would never, ever want to give to a child. So little dark humor bits like that. And yeah, it's a really great film.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Only some would know.
But you don't need to know that to enjoy it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
That's just for
film nerds,
guys like me.
Film nerds will get it. They'll love it.
Yes, for sure.
We're here now with Carter Law. He's here to talk about Frankenstein. Welcome, Carter. Thanks for joining us.
How are you guys?
Good. Carter's one of our photojournalists, so thanks for joining us. And a really big movie fan, too.
Yep.
Yes, a lot of those here. Awesome, Carter. So tell us about the movie. What did you like about it?
So it's a new version of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. It's from Guillermo del Toro, who's a really big director.
Yeah.
So it's like a new version of it, and it's more like gothic and more focused on like the fatherhood angle, and it's
I mean, it was nominated for quite a few awards. This is, probably one of the ones that was a little bit more nominated. A lot of the categories that it's getting some attention in are the design categories, the text. Do you think it has a chance to win any of those?
I think those are the ones it's gonna win. If there's any, like those are guaranteed. I think it's gonna win at least best hairstyling and like production design and costuming. I think those three are like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The costumes were beautiful,
Yeah.
like, so gorgeous. And I mean, like you said, it's shot in that Gothic style, so they're really taking you back to a really, really long time ago with those period pieces. It's really, really beautiful work.
Yep.
And Jacob Elordi is nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He plays the creature. He plays Frankenstein's monster.
Yep.
Okay, this was like a pretty surprising turn of events, sort of for the first televised award show of the season, Critics' Choice Awards. He won Best Supporting Actor. There was like a big shock, an upset, some might say. Do you think he could repeat it at the Oscars?
See, I think there's a lot of good actors this year in the Best Supporting Actor category, but I could see it going either way. I do think he has a solid chance. I think for most nominations, like for Best Picture and everything, I think there's a good chance he could pull a lot of those, to be honest.
Why do you think Best Picture? Because this one maybe would not be a front runner in that category.
So Guillermo del Toro has made a lot of movies that have been really big at the Oscars. Like he's done Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water. He recently won like Best Animated for Pinocchio. So he's won a lot. Like the Oscars love Guillermo del Toro. So I think there's a very strong chance that this could be like the dark horse or the underdog at this Oscars. Yeah.
They definitely favor him, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So what did you find most shocking about this movie? I don't know, anything surprise you or shock you here?
I was surprised by how much I liked it because I was like, I don't know, I went in like, it's Frankenstein, but I think like the way it's told and like, it doesn't look like Frankenstein and I feel like it's like a newish take on it.
Okay, so we're asking everybody, if you had it your way, which of the Best Picture nominees would win? If you had to vote, what's your vote?
I would pick One Battle After Another.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
That's what I would.
Right?
That's what I would pick. Yeah.
We got a consensus, I think.
Yeah.
We're getting there anyway. Cool. Alrighty. So, are you watching the Oscars? What are you playing? You have some snacks? Are you having a party? Anything like that? Or watching it? What's the plan there?
I'm probably gonna sleep for work.
Yeah. Watch it later. Maybe.
I'll watch the recaps.
Yeah,
I'll see who won
us
the next
too.
morning. Yeah.
No, I'm a little crazy. I'll be watching live. I have to, but yeah.
Man.
I get it.
I'll find out who won it.
Yeah.
The next day.
Awesome. We have Isaac Autry here, and he's here to talk about The Secret Agent. He's a photojournalist here with us. So thank you for joining us, Isaac.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit. Give us an overview of the plot of this movie. What is it about?
Well, The Secret Agent is about a man named Marcelo, who is sort of on the run from the law, from hitmen in Brazil of 1977. And the story is about kind of figuring out in real time this man's life story, what he's been through to end up where he is right now, and sort of the legacy that he leaves behind after it's all over. It is kind of a movie about discovering the past and the identity of a person through like secondhand accounts and audio recordings of the time, and simultaneously a story about, tyrannical rule, about corruption, about, hiding a refuge. It's a very rich text. There's a lot going on.
And I mean, this is one international feature film that is nominated, a foreign language film made in Brazil, like you said. Do you think that, the fact that this was all produced and made in Brazil, especially on the heels of last year's I'm Still Here. Do you think that maybe adds a little bit of momentum for awards voters for the Oscars to sort of give it that push for Best International Feature?
It could. It is kind of at a disadvantage this year because it is not the only international feature nominee that is also nominated for Best Picture. So it is going to be competing with Sentimental Value.
Yep.
It is kind of the question of, do they want to give it to a Brazilian movie 2 years in a row?
Sure.
I can see maybe them thinking that they want to spread that wealth, and give it to Sentimental Value. And also, I think that movie is just tracking really well with Oscar voters.
Yeah.
But it is, possible that it's definitely carrying over some momentum from last year, that it's still like, I'm Still Here could still be on the mind, and it is a really good movie, I mean, I don't think there's any bad nominees this year for Best Picture.
I loved I'm Still Here, but it is really cool to see that 2 years back to back there is a contender from Brazil that has sort of, emerged at the front of the conversation. We got to talk about Wagner Moura,
Yes.
who is the lead actor in this movie. Tell us about his performance and what you think his award chances are, because he did win the Golden Globe.
He did win the Globe, which is very exciting. He is phenomenal in the movie. I watched it again last night in preparation for this, and he is, I don't want to give too much away about the movie, but there are more aspects to the character and the performance that get revealed as the movie goes on. So then in a rewatch, you really understand that he is playing the entirety of this character the whole time. You can see every single aspect of his life and his character behind Wagner Moura's eyes, but in his scene to scene, just like performance. It is a very good performance. It is not super common for a non-English speaking performance to win Best Actor. It's not unprecedented, but it is rare. If he were to win, and it is a tight race this year, if he were to win, it would be, I think, very exciting.
History making.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't check if there's ever been a Brazilian winner for Best Actor.
I don't believe so.
I don't think there has. So that would definitely be historic. And he's, it's a tight competition this year. He's definitely up against some big dog performances, Timmy and Leo kind of seem to be leading the pack in terms of odds right now. But it's not out of the question. It's a phenomenal performance. It's really good.
Nice.
And there's so much about the character that is revealed as the movie goes on that on rewatch, you can really see every aspect of the character in the performance at all times from the very beginning. It's a really great piece of acting.
Amazing. You mentioned you rewatched this last night. I love the dedication. You're ready to talk to us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Are there any other aspects that you kind of noticed that you didn't the first time watching it or the first couple of times?
Yeah, I've seen it twice now, once in theaters and once at home last night. And the structure of this movie is really interesting because it has sort of a surprise split timeline thing that pops up kind of early on in the movie and then recurs throughout. And kind of, I find this a lot on rewatches for a lot of movies, but knowing where this is all going, not kind of, you're a little bit less caught up in the moment-to-moment suspense of what's going to happen to these characters, and you can really examine it more on a thematic level. And so it really all came together for me, a lot of the present tense stuff, the future timeline stuff, all came together into a really good thematic whole. And going back to the performance, Wagner Moura has an incredible final scene in this movie.
Yeah, powerful.
Yes, and it definitely, I think, could factor into, that aspect as well. It's a really, it really does all come together as a whole when you can kind of step back and look at it as sort of a piece of storytelling. I really think it benefits from a rewatch. I had a great time with it last night.
Amazing.
What do you think makes this film worthy of that Best Picture nomination? Especially in a year where there were so many incredible films that unfortunately weren't recognized.
There were a lot of great movies. There were a lot of great international movies this year. It was a really good year for that. This is a really good, sort of, I almost want to say throwback movie. It feels very entrenched in its 70s setting, even down to the genre conventions of the time. It feels very much like a thriller that you might see with some 70s cinema. It was kind of gritty, kind of colorful at the same time. And it also feels like, with the split timeline present tense stuff, like a commentary on our current reflection on the past and as it applies to the present, sort of learning from previous generations. And I think it especially ties into, we live in an age now with the internet and with a lot of digital stuff. You can really keep good records of a life or a person. But when you start to go back to like people who were, living before the internet, it's sort of like how the thought that I was left with last time I watched it was, how do we remember a person that we've never met, that we can't have known from a bygone time? And I think the stuff that really jumped out to me this time, and probably is what got it the Best Picture nominee, is this idea of like digging through old audio recordings and secondhand accounts and sort of becoming fascinated with the idea of a person that you can't know. I think that was the stuff that was really powerful this time for me. And seeing all of that present tense, all of the stuff that he was going through, keeping the movie primarily through the lens of Marcelo Armando, and then pulling back to be like, how are we remembering him today? How does this happen today? It felt like a movie about a real person.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. I have to ask you too, what do you think is going to end up winning this category? When you think of all 10,
Yes.
what do you think is going to win?
I definitely think the obvious choice is One Battle After Another for Best Picture. I think if it doesn't go to that, I think there's a real chance it goes to Sinners.
Yeah. It's neck and neck.
It is. I would personally love it to go to Sinners. I'd love that movie, and it would honestly just be cool for me for a vampire movie to win Best Picture.
Horror film.
I love vampires.
Yay.
But, One Battle is, pretty definitively one of the best films of the year.
Everybody loves it.
Yes.
It's really
Oh my
good. It's
goodness,
really
I'm in
good.
shock. I did not know. Yeah. We are here with Deshaun Dial, photojournalist here with us at First Alert 6. And Deshaun, you have some information with us about Sinners, the movie. That is your
It's a
forte.
Really,
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
The most nominated film this year, 16 nominations. It's a record for most nominated movie of all time.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So essentially, Sinners is a, I guess you could say like a love story. Sorry, a love letter to Delta blues music. Ryan Coogler, the guy who directed it, he lost his uncle, and he was like kind of the inspiration for the screenplay. Because like whenever I believe the story is whenever he was around his uncle would play music from that era. So that was kind of the inspiration. And there's not really much. Sometimes when smaller genres of music, time goes by, they get lost in just like the deck of cards of music and popularity. So he kind of wanted to make this movie to let people know more about Delta blues music.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie, it's been a hit since
Yeah.
it came out last spring, so almost a year it's been out. But like I said, 16 nominations, and momentum is kind of building for
Yeah,
this one.
definitely.
I mean, when you think about it, the top two probably front runners for Best Picture are
Yeah.
Sinners and One Battle After Another. Do you think Sinners has a chance of taking it all?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think there are some other movies that will sneak in and win other awards. I mean, I'm willing to bet that Sinners will probably win the most of the night. If I'm being honest, though, like, I kind of am okay if one Battle After Another does win Best Picture. Like, I liked it enough to, like, wouldn't feel bad. In my heart, as a sports fan, I'd love for F1 to win. I know it's not going to happen.
There you
but
go. Hey, everybody has their favorite. Right?
Sinners is my favorite, but like I love sports movies, so I know F1 has no chance whatsoever, but that would be insane. It would be really cool. But
Well,
I
it
doubt
might have a chance, in some other categories.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think F1 could win in like a sound and editing for sure. It kind of got snubbed for best cinematography, if I'm being honest. I thought that one would be the one that it would be in, not best picture. So I thought that's kind of crazy that it's not.
There's always a surprise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to talk about Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Obviously the star of the movie.
Yeah.
The conversation now, like this last week, it really switched up for Best Actor because I feel like the whole award season, it's been Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan just won the actor award. There's this momentum for him too
Yeah.
because the actor awards happened right when Oscar voting started. do you think that win could propel him to win the Oscar too? Still tipping.
Honestly, I think so. I believe that he probably will win Best Actor. Michael B. Jordan, yeah,
okay.
definitely. I haven't seen Marty Supreme, so like it's kind of hard to like gauge the performances. I mean, like my daughter was like 2 months old, and I'd rather hang out with her than go see Timothée Chalamet. So no, yeah. So that's yeah. So I mean that's why I haven't seen Marty Supreme yet. But I mean, like I just think Michael B. Jordan's performance was just so good that it's kind of hard. Like I've seen most of the other movies that are in the category of actors to go with him. So I liked Leo in One Battle, but I would definitely say it's Michael B. Jordan's to lose, in my opinion. I just think the whole aspect of like playing two characters, and there are a lot of, you kind of like have to rewatch it just to pick up on the subtle differences, because sometimes you're so caught up in just like the story itself, you don't really pay attention to the nuances of the brothers as much.
I mean, Smoke and Sack, they're inherently so different too. I mean, like you look at, like you said, those subtle nuances. He really did such a great job.
For like the casual person, they're obviously in different wardrobes, but the deeper you dive in, the more times you watch it, you pick up on a lot of different things. And so that's one thing I loved about his performance, is that every time you rewatch it, you pick up on something new that he did differently. And I think that's the point of, a Best Actor performance. I think it's the ability to, I think it's rewatchability, definitely. Like Sinners is a movie that you want to see, you want to show your family. Like as somebody who's a parent, like I'm excited for the day that I get to show my kid Sinners. So, I mean, like, I don't know, I think that all accumulates into winning a Best Actor award. And also I think it's kind of, I don't want to say Lifetime Achievement Award because he's not that old, but like I think it'll also accumulate everything he's done before.
Yeah, culmination.
Yeah.
Well, Deshaun, besides the music and Michael B. Jordan, is there any other aspects that you really enjoyed about Sinners that you want to talk to us about?
Yeah, I think I wish there were like more black cowboy movies, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's not necessarily really a black cowboy movie, but there are elements of cowboys and stuff like in it. Especially with like the Choctaw. But yeah, like I think I liked it. I honestly liked the whole thing. I thought the vampire, like I like a lot of supernatural stuff. So I thought the approach of the vampire being a hive mind was really interesting, because it kind of goes back into like, it kind of ties back into the movie, or not the movie, but the music industry. Because a lot of times there are like predatory companies who like take artists who are like struggling and just like trying to make a name for themselves, so they put them in like really bad deals and basically own that person. So I thought that was really interesting to kind of have like the vampire who's trying to get Sammy's talent for himself that he can use.
It's really special.
Yeah, it's symbolism. That's what I was thinking. It's symbolic. It's symbolic to the music industry and how they prey on people who aren't in the best circumstances. And they just want to be musicians. They want to make money. They don't want to be broke. And so they sign terrible deals and their lives are owned for 10, 15 years. And then, they're not always able to put out the music that they want to put out too. It's a whole thing, but it's kind of symbolic in that way of having a hive mind vampire after someone who's a very talented musician.
Really good insight, Sean. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, to talk about our final Best Picture nominee, we have Bob Ferguson joining us. Welcome, Bob. I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
It's actually Jackson Piercy. He's our digital news producer.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Jackson, you're a film extraordinaire. So we are very excited to hear your thoughts on this.
I'm just glad somebody's willing to hear me talk about these movies.
Of course, he's here to talk about One Battle After Another, and I love this costume. Tell me about it.
I've always had a thing for like trying to make like homemade costumes. I already had this shirt, I already had these pants. He doesn't wear boots, but like, he has like a pair of like athletic shoes or something like that. But they always eat into my thing, so I just grabbed some boots. They're not really looking at the feet. They're looking at the hat. They're looking at this. What is this? This is a robe. This is a robe.
Yeah, they're looking at
actually, when I bought this robe, it was actually like dragging off of the ground, and like my arms are like hidden, so I had to like take some fabric scissors and cut them like real short. You know, I don't really have a costume designer to like, you know, make it to my specific arm length. So, you know, but I think it's in the spirit if it's not accurate.
It looks great. Yeah.
And I mean,
Awesome.
You wore this for Halloween, so
Yeah,
I think that's right when the movie came out in the fall.
Yeah.
And it has been a hit ever since.
And the best part about it is this is really comfortable.
You're comfy, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so tell us a little bit about the plot. What is one battle after another for those who haven't seen it?
I don't know how spoilery you want me to
Give it to us.
Give it to so Bob Ferguson is, or you know, at the start of the movie is a part of this like kind of weather underground kind of revolutionary cell called the French 75, and he gets kind of this like a romantic thing with this one Perfidia Beverly Hills, that's her name. Perfidia catches this one, I think at the start of the movie he's a Captain Stephen Lockjaw, you know, catches him sleeping, gun to the face, you know, that kind of thing, and immediately Lockjaw's like, this is a real pretty lady, you know, that kind of.
That's how it happens sometimes.
He was taken by
I
it.
mean, look, Teyana Taylor's a very pretty lady. I can't entirely blame him, right? But you know, they're on two sides of the same thing. Steals his gun and his hat and is like, all right, let's get you, you know, keep it safe for TV. Let's get you into this, you know, detention cell over here. And he's like, well, I'll be seeing you again. Very conveniently, 9 months later, Perfidia is very, very heavily pregnant.
Yep.
She has to like sell out the entire crew,
Yep.
goes into witness protection, and then she escapes to Mexico. We basically never see her again. But she's kind of like this specter that kind of haunts the rest of the movie.
Of course, yep.
Because after she goes back to Mexico, 16 years into the future, Charlene, who is now Willa Ferguson,
Yes.
and they do like this big raid in Backton Cross to try and find
them, and chaos ensues.
Wow.
And then shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, we don't want to give away.
Not everything.
Okay.
Not everything, but I think that's the first like hour and a half. I think so.
Nice. Well, we got action, we got romance.
Yep.
I think we got it all.
Yeah, and it's very funny. It's a very funny movie. I mean, the
too.
stakes kind of make it seem like it's like deadly serious, but it's like in like spurts and moments. It's like it's a riot.
Super witty. I mean, the movie was produced, directed, written by Paul Thomas Anderson. I mean, auteur. He's had 14 prior Oscar nominations, has never won one. And I mean, he has some really, really well-known and really, really well-made movies.
Yeah.
Do you think this is his year? Is he finally going to win the elusive Oscar?
It's really interesting because I think a couple years ago, I think Leo DiCaprio, who's Bob in this movie, kind of had that moment where he's like nominated for all these acting awards over and over and over and over again, and then he finally wins his for The Revenant, I think, and I don't even remember.
2016.
2016,
Yep.
That's right. So I think PTA, as many people know him, I think he's had, I would argue, a bigger impact on the industry up until before winning his first Oscar.
Sure.
I think probably only, I don't know, Marty Scorsese probably had a bigger impact on the industry as a whole before winning his, outside of anybody else. So is he due? I'd say he probably should have won one by now.
Absolutely.
I think probably at least 2 or 3.
Yep.
But I think if he was gonna win his first, I think this would be the movie. I hope it's the movie that would do it, and then we can finally shut up about him not winning an Oscar.
What do you think? Is he going to have a Sean Baker moment? I mean, coming back, winning multiple. Is he going to win screenplay, director, get that Best Picture win?
I think, because it's a really crowded field this
Yes.
year, I think there's a lot of really, really good movies that are out this year. I think to what a lot of people in my place can attest. But I think Best Picture, is definitely in the purview. I think Best Director is probably his award to lose at this point.
I think it's a lock.
Yeah. I'm not gonna call it a lock. I'm not.
Hey, I'm gonna say it's a lock.
I'm not a voting member of the Academy yet.
I'm gonna call screenplay a lock.
Oh
too,
yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Best Adapted
Yep,
Screenplay
yep.
because this is his third adaptation of a Thomas Pynchon novel. This is Vineland, and then I think the master is an adaptation of V, and then I think he also did Inherent Vice.
Yeah, he takes a lot of inspiration from his work.
Yeah.
I want to talk too about the acting nominations. Leonardo DiCaprio, you mentioned. Sean Penn, also nominated Best Supporting Actor alongside Benicio del Toro.
Yeah.
But Sean Penn is kind of pulling ahead of the pack in terms of this race. Do you think it's his or no?
I think like when you have two supporting actors in the same category kind of competing against each other, I think they tend to eat each other, and then like somebody else wins.
Yep.
But I think, I mean, Sean Penn is it's a really interesting performance because
he was, to me, that performance was like one of the top, if not the top performance of the year. I mean, he was astounding.
He's like simultaneously like horrifying to like, not just to like be around, but just kind of to look at.
Sure.
But he's also like when he's in the room with the Christmas Adventurers guys for the first time, he's kind of like a whipped puppy. You know, he's like, yes sir, no sir. He's a little out of his element. I think, not obviously his decision, but I noticed this the last time I watched it last night, that like every suit he wears is the exact same suit, blue shirt, navy blue, khakis, but he changes his tie. I think that really speaks to kind of, I mean, obviously he's in the military, he's a detail-oriented guy, but I think that the suit doesn't really matter that much to him.
Yeah.
And but he's also like a really funny kind of in a I don't know, pathetic loser kind of way.
He brings a lot of the comedy to the movie.
Yeah.
We talked about Tiana Taylor's character as well.
Yes.
She's also up for Best Supporting Actress.
Yes.
She won the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
That race is maybe a little bit more unclear than
It
Supporting
is.
Actor.
It is.
Who do you think's going to take it?
I still think I haven't seen quite all of the nominees for every award yet. I mean, obviously, I would like her to win.
Sure.
Right? You know, it's probably I would say it's my favorite movie of the year. So I mean, it's in my agenda for it to win as many awards as possible. But I think with a lot of elephants in the room, such as your Sinners and your Martys and your what have you, I think. I want to say Wunmi Masaku from Sinners.
Yeah,
I would really like her to see that.
She could take it too.
I think for something, for an award like that, I think it's still anybody's race.
Amy Madigan, I mean, she's got Critics' Choice and Actors.
Sinners, dude. She's so good at Sinners, dude.
Amazing. We were just raving about this movie this whole time. Yeah. Others on this couch as well. Everyone that's came in has basically mentioned it. What do you think has really just led to its success?
To win battles? Well, this movie has been 20 years in the making. They've been trying to just, I mean, I don't want to say it's been in development hell for as long as it has, but it's definitely been something that's been in the works for a very, very long time. And I think it's kind of an alignment of the right cast, and I think the right exact moment that we're in right now. And I think kind of the attitude it takes towards that kind of, snapshot of a moment where I think a movie like an Eddington can be a little more cynical, but I think this kind of has a bit more of a positive outlook on we're in a crazy situation, no matter what way you cut it.
I mean, it reflects a lot of current American history. So,
yeah.
I mean, I know when I saw it, it was very timely of what we were reporting on in the news, and it's interesting to see that this has been in the works for so many years, but it's just as relevant and timely now.
Yeah, no, I felt like I was back at work at my desk, typing this stuff up, which was a little scary being in an IMAX theater seeing it for the first time. But I mean, it covers a lot of very wide ground, from communication disparities between generations. I think we see that with Leo, and a really, really great performance from Chase Infinity.
Snubbed.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What a!
I'm never gonna get over it. She was snubbed.
Yes, this is her first. I think she's
25 years old.
25 years old.
She's gonna be a star.
She will be a star. I mean, with a name like Chase Infinity.
Oh yeah, how can you not be?
It covers all of that. It covers violence from the government, but it also everything from it's kind of annoying to try and get customer service on the phone, as you see with Bob's saga with trying to get the rendezvous point for the last 45 minutes. It felt like forever trying to
so funny though.
Just get his phone charged,
yeah.
And then just get on the phone. It's I don't remember the password. What's the password? Just tell me the password, please. But you also have these father figures like a highly competent revolutionary type in Benicio del Toro's Sergio San Carlos, the karate instructor, you know, where he's just, you know, especially once he meets up with Bob, it's very
Hey, I have to
cool.
say too, before we wrap it up, like, I mean, Sean Penn, he had the over-the-top performance.
Yeah.
Benicio was a little bit more subdued, internal, but he was probably my favorite in the movie.
Oh, I love Benicio.
So good.
Anything with Benicio that I mean, you know, even his last line, a few small beers. Oh, a few small beers.
Iconic.
Serene. Ocean waves. I'm feeling the ocean waves. I'm feeling it right now just talking about it.
Well, Jackson, you are as iconic as this movie, I would
Wow.
say. Thank you for joining us and talking about this.
Thank you for having me, of course. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, so that is it. We heard from all of our colleagues about the 10 Best Picture nominees. Elaina, after hearing from everybody's insights and opinions, first of all, I want to take the time to thank everybody for coming on and speaking with us. It was really great. I mean, we have so many cinephiles, film fans who we work with, so it's awesome just to sit down and chat about movies a little bit. But after hearing everybody's thoughts, what do you think? Who is going to take Best Picture?
Yeah, our guests, Maria, they're so smart. They were so insightful. Yeah. I learned a lot as well. I know you did too.
Yes.
So that's really awesome. And also people that, you know, don't get some camera time. They get to come on here and talk about stuff as well.
We love having our photogs and our directors coming on and speaking about
We appreciate them.
things that they love.
That's awesome. But in terms of the Best Picture, I think it's going to go to one battle after another. I was so in shock at what people were saying. We got a little bit of a consensus, I would say. So I'm joining the crew with that, I think. How about for you?
I mean, we've said it throughout this whole show. It's between Sinners and one battle after another. But I don't think the stats can lie. And One Battle After Another has taken pretty much every single precursor except for the Actor Awards, which actually historically the Actor Awards, the winner of Best Ensemble in a Motion Picture, Best Cast, has not lined up with Best Picture traditionally at the Oscars. So even though One Battle After Another didn't win that, I still think it's going to come out on top at the end and take the prize at the end of tonight's show.
Awesome. I think we're in agreement.
Well, you can tune into the Academy Awards tonight. They start at 6 o'clock. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.